We're here. It is Friday. Good to be here. I have what a tremendous pep talk from Rusty. He's our fact checker, but he comes through with Friday pep talks for me, for the Put Up or Shut Up rock and roll trivia game, and really about life in general.
Can you tell Kelly by the email when he sends these?
Very, very early, like 4 a.m. is when. I saw it come through today.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's real 4:15 a.m. He gets up early, and I don't know if he's written it the night before, but he gets up.
Wakes up and hits send,
maybe,
and goes back to sleep. Says a little prayer,
maybe. He says he was in costume at our trunk or treat event the other night, dressed as Chris Demm, and no one knew.
No one suspected.
In fact, I don't think Chris Demm was here. Biggie has always said they're the same person. That really Chris Demm is Rusty, and he's just just
emails about himself.
Yeah, it's a long form
con.
A long con, exactly. Rusty's got a great quote here from a hero of Chris Demm's, Broadway Joe Namath. To end pep talk. Yeah. He says, now last week I won the Put Up or Shut Up game 8-3. I body bagged the opponent. And Rusty says, no need to thank me for last week's pep talk. I mean, pretty obvious. That's what put me over the top. He says, I don't deserve all of the credit. But the combination of donuts, Diet Coke, ELO's Evil Woman, and the inspirational words of Coach Mike Ditka brought out the best in you last week.
Yes.
It was a good one. The results speak for themselves. An 8-3 body bag against P1 Charles. Certainly your best game of the year and arguably your best game ever. True. Fact and fact.
Yeah, in terms of point differential and just total score.
Felt great. Just really felt great last Friday. And Rusty says simply, just keep it rolling this week. Don't dwell on your performance Monday through Thursday. We know it wasn't good. What?
This is
You're getting over being sick.
Yeah. Late nights, too. Tuesday, I went to see Pretty Woman. My wife and I went to see that as a late nighter. Wednesday, we had our trunk or treat event. And then last night, I was able to get out and play a little pickle on Thursday night.
I knew you would.
Let me say, I played with 3 players who are better than me, markedly. We played 12 games, and I won 1 game.
This is a new pattern this week.
It's progress.
Is it?
I don't think they're going to call me to play with them again.
You're dragging them down. At this point.
And at the end, I was like, good playing, everybody. And they just sat stone silent. And I thought, they're not going to call me back. And, I became the guy who everybody was giving tips to, do this, do that, which I appreciated. But, I'm so dense. The one guy... He's really good. They're all really good players. And he told me, when I get up toward the net, put your arm behind you for more balance. And that's a ready position. Put your arm out, flail it out.
Is that a wind up?
I think he was winding me up. I do.
Who stands like that?
That's
not balance.
Like the bend over and the stance. I do see people doing it.
Really? Looks like you're in Karate Kid.
I know.
But to me, it's your axis is off. It's too...
Well... It's like this, and it keeps you. I'm doing
like
it.
Like your racket hand is forward.
That's right.
Your paddle hand.
That's it. That's right. And
but your non-paddle hand is way back.
Yeah, that looks like it gives you a disadvantage.
No, I have to say
because it's a side-to-side game, right?
It is, but you got to get up to that line, that kitchen line, and then you're down like this. I hope you're watching on camera. This is a great display.
It's a good demo.
But the problem I did find it helpful, except then I started. When to put my hand behind me. So I was running around all over the court with my hand behind me. And finally Rick said, you look like a fool.
You told me to do this. I know. I can't believe you did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the easiest $20 I ever made.
Yeah. I bet you can't get him to stand there.
I feel guilty taking it.
Yeah.
He's certified.
He said you were dense, but Lord.
Get him to pose like half a moron. Okay.
Get him to bend over and put one hand behind him like he's wiping.
Yeah.
Huh? He won't do that. I assure you he will.
Yeah. Oh, he will.
Tell him it'll help him look better in the kitchen.
We've known him longer than you. He will do that.
Yeah.
He absolutely will. and then by the end of it, they were like, okay, play this point on 1 foot. I really think if you play it on one
foot,
I said, Rick, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna.
Yeah, you're the kid that got invited to the popular group just to be made fun of.
Yeah, that's right.
You're Carrie at the prom.
I'm Carrie at the prom.
Right before the,
you're gonna love it. I was, I watched this show Fleabag. Biggie turned me on to it. And, it was on 2 seasons, and nobody's going to watch it. But it's really, really good show. It's British. And I think you'll really like this joke. She's out on a date. See if you remember this, Biggie. She's out on a date. And this goes along with your
the main character known as
Fleabag. This will go along with your horror movie reviews. And they were talking about movies. And the date says to her, what's your favorite period piece? And she goes, I guess I'd say Carrie.
Well done.
That's clever.
Is that a great joke? Or what? I almost fell off the couch because
you're expecting a Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice, perhaps, Wuthering Heights.
And Biggie had just reviewed Carrie. She gets her Menzies for the first time. That's a big scene in the
major plot point.
Oh, huge! Right at the beginning of the movie, it's difficult to watch.
Very,
because she's not prepared for it.
No.
And her mother is,
and she's made fun of by the group in the shower.
Well, they throw tampons at her and stuff. And I read the book. I read that book when I was in about the 7th grade, and I was not sure.
Yeah, I figured you at that age you kind of know, but you don't.
Too early, really. Later,
you've heard the words, but you don't understand
exactly. And so I didn't really get how traumatic that was for her. But I thought that joke was so clever in that show. I was drinking Diet Coke and it came out my nose. It was so fun. It burned my nose, but it was totally worth it because it was so good. So anyway, I think you're right. I think they wound me up last night.
It's interesting that you brought up pickleball, and because I don't know if you have HBO, but HBO's Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, the first story in the newest episode is all about pickleball.
Really?
Yes.
I do have HBO. I don't usually watch that show, but I will this time to see that.
I still enjoy it. They do some pretty good stories.
Oh, yeah. That's a good show.
And this week, and full confession, I fell asleep literally during the pickleball segment.
Yeah.
So many people can say the same. Don't you think? A lot of people who listen to this show probably say, I fell asleep during the pickleball.
I didn't want to. I just did. We had a work event the night before, so I was not at my best.
Let's blame that.
Sometimes I know that we run like disclaimers and things during the show. And I'd like to have one produced that says that, Chris Demm, Dave, Biggie, they don't care about pickleball videos. Because every day, I get 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Hey, this is about pickleball. We don't
care.
love it.
They don't play.
You're sending it to the wrong people.
Yeah, it's nice that the P1 listeners engaged.
Yeah, oh yeah,
that's very kind, but you don't have to include us.
Yeah,
but I will say this. Yes. I do want to see the rest of the story.
Oh, you do want?
Yeah, I do because I enjoy their stories, and this is Bryant Gumbel is the host, and they have a rotating group of reporters, and he sent our own Mary Carrillo pickleball taking over the suburbs. It's the sound of the suburbs, Bryant. Clock, 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 clock. And they really talk about the sound.
That's what it's about. Everybody hates it because of the sound. Yeah. That's right. And then Mary Carrillo, boy, who
I think played professional tennis.
Oh, yeah. She does
all the tennis commentary.
Yeah, she'll do analysis of tennis. You do a nice impression of her.
Thank you.
Of Mary Carrillo.
Good piece, Mary.
That's the question. When you see the end of it.
So where do you see pickleball in 10 years? I don't know if it'll go the way of cornhole or lacrosse. It's hard to say.
Great piece, Mary. That's what he always does.
Let's move on.
If Bryant likes it, he'll give you a good piece. Good piece.
It doesn't happen often.
No, very rare.
But it does happen, yes.
The late, great Frank DeFord used to get that.
He'd get a lot of pieces.
Because he was like a
hardcore journalist.
Probably a Pulitzer Prize winner, Yeah, hardcore. And so Bryant would say, good piece.
He was what we used to call a capital J journalist.
Yes, he was a journalist at the time. I don't know that Mary's that yet, but she's doing a piece on my game. So I will watch that, of course.
And it's the first one, so you don't have to watch the whole episode.
Perfect. Well, back to Rusty and his pump-up email. He says, you've been off this week. It's noticeable. We know it. just try to keep it going. Try to keep your winning streak going. Go ahead and slam a couple of Diet Cokes, grab some sweets, play like Spooktacular hasn't been ruined yet, even though we all know it has been. That is true. Even though
that's still 72 hours away.
I told Biggie we could go full-on assault on Spooktacular on Monday. We could go full Halloween mode.
Look what happened as soon as you said that. One of the monitors died.
You're right.
I mean, if this was a horror movie, that would be the warning.
It's the last
sign.
It's the last thing out of my mouth before the monitor died. Yeah. That's exactly
Let's make Spooktacular awesome. What happened?
I can't see anything.
What a great point. It's like one of those, I just saw, this is a great example of how an announcer talks about a field goal kicker making 10 in a row or a free throw shooter who's done.
Can't miss.
It was Kevin Harlan the other night, did it to Steph Curry. Curry was at the line in a Golden State game, and he said he's not missed a free throw all season. So, of course, as soon as that happened, he missed the free throw. He was sitting there next to the two analysts, and Curry looked over him, and they pointed at Harlan like he
he did it.
He did
Curry is at the line. He has not missed this year.
Kevin.
Why? Why? He's 22.
That is you, Kevin.
I am so sorry. He knew what we were saying. I feel so bad.
We're the ones.
We were dropping down on him too. We were dropping down. We were the snitches over here. Thanks for the support. That was nice of you.
They pointed right at him. They're like, "That's Harlan did
Then
that."
Curry pointed at him and said, "Thanks a lot."
Yeah, he did. That was hilarious.
Between free throws.
That was really funny.
Good little moment.
Yeah, Curry does that. So, Rusty says, to get through today at my best and perhaps win this Put Up or Shut Up rock and roll trivia game again, he says, let me leave you with this timely quote from a Super Bowl winning quarterback, Broadway Joe Namath, who says, when you win, nothing hurts. Think about that. I was just talking to my podcast partner the other day, and he grabbed some ibuprofen off my desk. And he said, man, I'm eating these things like candy. I said, me too, man, all the time. I keep a big thing from...
Podcast partner said that?
Yeah.
What does he do?
I don't know.
I know he doesn't pickle.
No, and I don't know that he works out. I don't know. He used to have one of those... during the pandemic, he got really into the Chuck Norris machine.
Yeah.
He did that.
You had one of those at one point. Never unboxed.
Never unboxed. Sold. Never unboxed. They had some sort of Chuck Norris thing, and during the pandemic, but no more, he told me that he would get up every morning and watch the movie The Social Network. He'd watch half the movie on Monday, the second half of the movie on Tuesday while working out, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And he says now he can quote the entire movie. He knows it like by heart.
Time well spent.
That's the craziest thing I've heard in a long time.
So,
do we know this person as well?
You do. Yeah,
I definitely do.
He's a dear friend, and
I'd get away from him.
I told him
at least distance yourself.
I said that's really great. Well, we're becoming closer.
You're on the road to Matthew Perrydom. We're gobbling Advil like candy.
He said, "Well, we were in the office and we were producing the podcast,
yes,
and adding the finishing touches and so forth. And he spotted a giant vial of
do you use Costco's brand? Is it like Costville?
It is. It's Costville. And he says, oh, my God, can I have some Costville? And I said, sure. And he took 3. And I said, man, you're really going strong there. And he said, oh, I gobble these things. He's like, I've always got some sort of little nagging injury or something. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing, brother. At the gym this week, it's Hell Week. And I've just been having them left and right.
I had some thoughts about your football podcast.
I'm excited to hear this. This is something I do.
You want to hear them?
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't think they're going to be as kind as you think they are.
Yes, I want to hear them.
As you've shared that you and your friends do a little fantasy football themed podcast only for the members of your league. It's not on.
That's right.
Spotify. It's not on the cloud. It's not on YouTube.
My friend Matt, he was here one day when we produced it. And he came in and said, they're one of the best podcasts going and one of the most popular started just like you're starting, just for a few people in the league. And he said, you could do that. And I said, we don't know how. We'll never. No. It's just we'll only. And remember.
Do you know what he was referencing?
I don't. He said it started.
You didn't follow up?
No, I didn't know. I didn't follow up. And he said it started with a couple of guys just for an audience of 10 or 12. our audience has dropped from 12 down to 3. And remember, our hosts have dropped from 3 to 2. We had a host bail after the second week.
Oh, I don't think I even knew that.
Oh, you didn't know? No, we had one who would Skype in. And after 2 weeks, he said, guys,
this is pointless.
I'm not doing this, right?
Well, here's my thought. And it's taking a page from our friend Matt's playbook.
Yeah.
Every week, he sends out an email to everyone in the company about what's happening in the week to come.
Yes.
And occasionally, I think he would suspect that people would not read the entire email.
That's right.
And occasionally what he will do is at the very end, at the bottom of the email, said, if you're the first person to respond to this,
yes,
$50 gift card.
Yes.
$50 Visa gift card.
That's right.
Maybe you should put something like that at the end of your
very
podcast.
end of the
If you
podcast.
can still hear this, message us.
And you get
with the code card, and you get a $50 gift card.
That's a great idea.
That is a really good idea.
Because no one will ever claim the gift card.
You risk nothing.
Yeah, it's just reward. And at the end of the season, you can just take it back and use it.
I wouldn't even buy the card.
No.
I mean, I know they have them at Walgreens.
What's the point? What's the point to even buy the card? Great idea. That's a fantastic idea. You know, my friend, who is the third of the 3 commissioners, used to we would write out the recaps. Now we're doing it in podcast form. We would write them out, and sometimes I didn't read them. All right, I'll just confess this. No. Okay, murmur. I didn't read them sometimes. And one time he put at the very end, surprise news, my wife is pregnant. And no one expected it. I mean, he was...
No one congratulated him?
No.
No one.
You unfeeling bastards.
That's how we knew. That's how everybody knew that no one was reading our stuff. Now no one's listening to our stuff. And that was the one where on draft night, see, he knew that his wife was pregnant, but of course no one else did. And he said to me, what would you do if your wife told you?
That's right.
And I said, I kid myself.
It was a crucible moment for you.
Because I was like...
Immediately.
I was about 45 years old, and he goes, and he's roughly he's probably 43.
Pack a bag and grab a Greyhound.
That's right.
Where are you headed? Nowhere in particular.
Got a wife and kids in Baltimore. I would live that Bruce Springsteen song. That Springsteen.
Out for a ride?
Yeah.
Never came back.
Hey, I'm going out for cigarettes. You don't smoke. Hello?
That's right. I would leave right
Hungry
there.
Heart style.
That was it. That would be it. I'd go all Hungry Heart if that had happened to me.